Now, as the number of migrants staying in hotels across the country continues to rise, the protests against them are also becoming more and more frequent. Stradey Park Hotel in Llanelli, Wales, was the site of the latest incident that saw police rush to the scene as the protesters began to storm the grounds of the site, apparently. Joining us now is the host and commentator from the Twitch channel Voice of Wales and regular on this show as well. It's Dan Morgan. Dan, thank you very much. Great to see you again. So what is the latest on this particular hotel? I understand it's kicked off again a bit, has it?
Yeah, so the latest is that the fire department have gone in now and they have deemed it unsafe. It doesn't meet any fire regulations. It's not safe for escaping. The fire detection isn't available. So at the moment, there's a notice on there that nobody can sleep in the building due to the state that it's in. That's the latest where we are. So that's a very big sort of win for the protesters. Now, the land that we're seeing there, that's actually contested land. So in the court injunction, that access way was for the hotel, but it was also for the landowners. Now, on Sunday just gone, there was a massive motorcade that did a drive past of the hotel to show its support. That consisted of members of the public, local businesses. You had the bikers were there, the farmers were there, and their tractors and quads. And it was a massive display of unity, I suppose. But the bikers decided to exercise their rights to go into the contested land, which the police did try to prevent happening. Now, it's a trespass, which is a civil matter, so there's questions whether or not the police should have prevented it, and with the court injunction as well, giving access, should they have really got involved? Should they have just let the bikes go in and do what they wanted to do? But they chose to try and prevent, as you can see here, and what happened is the public just got involved, and they made the police, basically move out the way to allow the bikes in, and that shows.
So we do have a situation where this is a hotel that employed 90 odd people, I think it was. They were all turfed out, obviously. It was a big draw for the local area. I think it's the only major hotel like that, that was there. That was then due to house all male asylum seekers, I believe, and. Hundreds of people now. I mean, this has been going on. People have been camping outside this hotel to try to stop this 24/7 now for months, haven't they? Yeah, literally since May. Since the news broke, the camp has formed. It's grown and grown and grown. Where the original camp was, behind that now there's another tent that's been donated, which is a big military-style tent, and then that is beyond the wall, so it's on the land that is contested. So the protesters. They are, everyone knew that they were setting that camp. The police were hoping that when the weather changes, the people will tend to fizzle off. But what we're seeing with how the police are acting and the amount of arrests that are happening, and it does seem very two-tiered sort of policing that we're seeing at the moment, it's just attracting more and more protesters. I know there's Halloween parties arranged, there's Christmas lunch already being arranged to have inside the camp. So it's having the opposite effect of what these politicians and police are trying to give, because they are hoping that they can push the protesters away and they can, calm it down a little bit. But at the moment, the night of the motorcade, there was 60 police officers on a head count on the ground in front of the hotel and more surrounding the perimeter. So, it's costing. And there's no one in there, though, is there? This is what I don't quite understand. I mean, I get that it's owned by somebody, a hotel, so it's property, and the police would have a duty for that property not to be trashed. I would counter that slightly by saying that they have already trashed it, haven't they? As in, the people that they were ripping it out to try to make it ready for these new migrant arrivals, and so it's not actually fit for human habitation at the moment anyway, is it?
No, it's absolutely not. And that's what the fire department said when they went there, the fire service, they've been round the building, they've put the notices up, and even the security, who are there 24 hours, they do different shifts, they have a changeover in the morning and in the afternoon. The security are now no longer allowed to sleep at the premises, which is what they have been doing for some time. There's been 5, I believe, security firms. The quickest one, they went in, they decided this isn't for them, and they came out. So, it's getting to the point now where, the question's got to be asked, is this feasible? The review, a 90-day review, is due to take place next week, we believe, and that would be between the Home Office, the owners of the hotel, potentially the police, politicians, and fire department as well. So we just got to see where that goes.
But I think I'm right in saying, I mean, it must be. I cover the issue of migrant hotels a lot. I think this must be the longest and largest protest anywhere in the UK, I think, at a migrant hotel. Why do the people there care so much about this? Why?
Well, what you've got in Llanelli is that you've still got community. The Welsh Labour government have done everything they can to destroy the community in big cities, you know, Swansea, Cardiff, Wrexham, Newport, all these places have gone, the community spirit's gone. Llanelli, it's got a very long history of community spirit and people, when they don't like government policy, stepping up and saying no. And every time you've got the Rebecca riots, for example, happened, you know, a very long time ago. That was in regards to farmers getting into the town centre to sell their goods. They wanted to impose taxes on that and toll gates. That was prevented through mass civil protest. And then you've got the railway strikes that happened as well. So there's a long history of this in Llanelli, and they are absolutely the type of community that I believe the Welsh government fear, because they aren't afraid to stand up and say no. They aren't afraid to get arrested if it comes to it, to make their point and make their voice heard, which is what we've seen now. I think it's up to like 26 arrests now so far. So, you know, they are going the distance. And the difference is that each of them people there will willingly and happily go and get arrested for the next person, the person next to them. The saying was said the other day, you know, one of them gets kicked, the whole community limp. And that's exactly the feeling that we get from...
And it's growing and growing, and it's a monumental waste of police time and resources to have 60 police officers surrounding a hotel that possibly should never... Well, definitely should never have been used in the first place for this stuff. And, you know, they could be doing better things. The best thing to do would just be to say, look, we're not... Why are we continuing to do this? Months and months and months. Just call it off. And if there is such big opposition as well, I mean, I would argue at what point are the British public going to be consulted about any of this? And if they're not going to be consulted about any of it, and they decide to set up a camp for the best part of 6 months, and that camp's getting larger and larger, and you're talking about having Christmas dinner there and all sorts, just move on. Find another hotel. Find somewhere else. Or do something else. Why continue to just hammer this community that obviously do not want it, you know? But, Dan, thank you very much. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We're out of time because I was ranting on there, but it's Dan Morgan, there's the voice of Wales, good lad. Yeah, look, again, he makes a great point about community, doesn't he? And I can't help but wonder whether or not, in a lot of parts of the UK, you know, the solidified community, whether it's a village or a town, has been broken down over the years, hasn't it? Certainly in cities, and therefore maybe that makes it a little bit easier for people to implement things that you don't particularly like.